Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Matchmaker Mondays. I am your host, Blair Nash. Thank you for listening in and tuning in to us. We have a great show for you this evening. Hope everyone has had a great week so far, even though it's only Monday. We're, just getting started with the week, but I hope everyone is doing well. I have a awesome panel today that I want to just kind of briefly introduce to everyone. I have Danielle Claiborne, who is from Texas. Danielle, just tell them briefly about yourself in about 10, 15 seconds on what where you're from, how long you live there, what you do, etc.
Okay, well, thank you, Blair. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Hello to you. Hello, ladies, and everyone that's present tonight. My name's Danielle Claiborne. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been here since I was 6 months old. Was born in Wichita, Kansas, so got to Texas as fast as I could. And I have lived here my entire life. Went to school here. My family's here. I am a real estate entrepreneur, and I don't know what else to say, but thanks for having me.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's all. Cool. Next up, we have Mrs. Erica Mitchell, hailing from Atlanta, GA. Erica, tell them about yourself, please.
Okay, I'm Erica Mitchell, and I'm a realtor here in Atlanta. I've been a realtor for 17 years. I've been living in Atlanta 16 years. I moved from Chicago. Let's see, I'm divorced. I've been divorced 18 years. No. I was married 18 years. I've been divorced 9 years.
You better get that story right, girl.
I'm like, wait a minute, I'm making myself super old. I have 2 adult sons, both just graduated from college 2 years ago. So that's about it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for being on the show. Next, we have Ayana Eubank from California. Ayana, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Ayana Eubank. I am a hairstylist and also a plus size model out here in the Cali area. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. The weather is fabulous out here. Sorry. I know it's snowing everywhere else, but and a little rainy, but it's all good out here in Cali.
Right.
I've been single for 7 years now. I just actually found out the other day. I kept saying 4 years, but I am divorced for 7 years. I was looking at some pictures and saw the date, and I was like, oh, wow, that time went pretty fast.
Okay.
But I'm single, mingling out here in the Cali area. What up,
All right. Got the shoulder out today and everything. We see you. All right. Awesome. And last but not least, from my state, Ohio, we have Cherie Riley. Cherie, thank you for being on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, please.
Hi. Hey, everybody. My name is Cherie Riley. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, like you said, and I am an entrepreneur, business owner, host, guest show. I love all creativity. So I talk a lot about relationships on my show. I have a lot of fun talking about a variety of different things. I teach dance on the side, Latin ballroom. I am single and never been married, no kids. So that is my story.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, ladies. And that is going to be our panel for this evening. Thank you so much again. So first of all, I want to just say, thank you to the actual host of this, who is Kevin Lloyd, the owner of Columbus Black. I want to say thank you to him for allowing me this opportunity to kind of, showcase different sisters from around the country and everything. And real quick, Cherie, did you mention your podcast as far as the name of it?
It's called Sharing with Cherie. It's actually not a podcast just yet.
Okay.
I host it on Facebook Live.
Okay.
And Instagram Live, but right now I'm going to move it over to YouTube soon. So it will be on a podcast very soon.
Awesome. Cool. All right, cool. I'm going to give you ladies at the end about 20 seconds to kind of, shout out whatever it is that you're doing. If you have any other, material coming up or events or whatever. So again, I thank you for being part of this, this panel. So Kevin had reached out to me initially and wanted me to do this. This is our second version of Matchmaker Mondays. And I wanted to do something a little different this time because I know that just talking about, just dating and matchmaking is kind of, So I wanted to just kind of get a detailed synopsis from different women from all parts of the country and just kind of get a visual of what it is like in their particular city or their particular state. So one of the things that we always hear a lot from people is, well, if I was living here, it wouldn't be that kind of problem. It's just actually the city I'm living in, whether it's Atlanta, whether it's Ohio, Cali, Houston, wherever. That's kind of the drumbeat that you hear. So I want to start with Danielle first. What is it like dating in the Texas area? Because you're in the Dallas area, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Dallas has a pretty decent sized Black population. So it's not it's not some little. Dallas is pretty burgeoning, pretty large. So from what you've been able to kind of surmise, what do you see in dating? What has been your experiences and everything? And you don't have to tell me about that other date and everything. We could talk about that another time. You ain't got to go to that one. But tell me about like what dating is like overall for you in Texas, in Dallas to be exact.
Okay. The first thing I want to say is that, I don't feel that I can just address dating in Texas or in Dallas, because with the internet and with social media, that's opened up dating to me and to the world. It's opened you up to be able to have long distance relationships with people in other cities, other states, and even other countries. So I think it's important to address that. But I would say in particular in Dallas, the dating scene, since I've been here my entire life, it's interesting because I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that are actually from here. And dating is very interesting. It's very interesting. Okay. It's very interesting. Right. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I should say that, because what I'm finding is that people are not really wanting to make any deep connections. I think it's really shallow. They want to, getting a date isn't a problem, and going on a date isn't a problem, but you find people that maybe want to text you to death, or just may want something that is truly maybe physical, exclusively physical. So you have to really, it's a challenge. It's a challenge meeting someone in depth that actually wants something out of life and wants to grow and build a relationship with you.
Okay. All right. And let me just ask you this real quick, because I want to skip to the next young lady. Do you think it's kind of indigenous just to Texas, or do you find that no matter who you talk to or where you go, do you find that that's kind of what people say, or what?
I think that's for my experience, yes. I have single girlfriends that live here in Dallas. I have single girlfriends that live all over the country, and they are finding, the same thing, and it's not saying that there aren't men out there that actually want to have exclusive, meaningful relationships, because there are people out there that want that and find that, and they're getting married. You recently got married within the last couple of years, so there are people out there. So there's hope out there for us ladies that are out here dating. But for the most part, it's rough. It's hard out here for women.
Right. Shout out to my baby on that. Hey, love. So I want to go next to Erica Mitchell. As we said, she's in Atlanta. Same question, Erica. What do you find? I mean, when people think of Atlanta, they think like, wow, I mean, you got all those brothers down there, all those sisters. You wouldn't really have a problem finding quality men, quality suitors. Has that been your experience? Just tell us a little bit about what dating is like as someone who is in Atlanta and entrenched in the culture there.
I say Atlanta is probably the opposite of what you just said, with it being with the quality. And the same with Danielle, it's not an issue getting a date. I don't have a problem getting a date. It's just about the quality of the date.
Okay.
A lot of guys, it seems like they don't want to court you. it's more just like, I want to date you. They want to date majority women.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, how do you get to know one person if you're dating a million different people?
Mm.
So it's hard to get that commitment here too. So that's the challenge I run into.
Was it?
Then we have another issue too, because there are more men here than women. So men do have more choices than women do. And so that could be a challenge. And then
You said there's more men in Atlanta than women?
no, there's more women
Okay,
in Atlanta than
All
men.
right, yeah.
So they have more to choose from than women.
Right,
And
right.
then
So with your situation, not you personally, but living in Atlanta, I would think it would kind of level out somewhat, because what's the one thing we know about Atlanta? It's a lot of Black people, and we know there's a decent amount of gay Black men there, right? So
Yeah.
you would think that it kind of levels out, because the men who are homosexual would kind of be off on their own. So it would kind of make it a little bit more even. Is that the case or not?
I don't think so.
No.
And not only that, we don't just have the gay men, it also down low brothers. So you don't know if you're playing for the same team sometimes. I mean, it hasn't personally happened to me, but I do know of female friends, and they find out that the guy that they've been seeing is really more interested in a male than a female. So that's another challenge that we may have here.
That's got to be a gut punch. Okay, I want to come. Well, let me ask you this. I wanted to come back to you, but I'm going to ask real quick now. You said you lived in Chicago, was it?
Yeah, I grew up in Chicago. I mean, I was born in Chicago.
Okay, so you didn't live there like your adult years then.
No.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, what is it like? What is it like in Chicago? But you're not aware. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so next I want to go to Ayana. Ayana's my buddy, boy. Yeah. So Ayana, tell us about dating in California. Speak to us.
I can agree with the ladies, right along the same lines. It's not a problem with getting dates. It's not a problem with going out. Being in Cali, you would think that, well, a lot of people are more into fitness and skinny and veganism and all that stuff. That I would have an issue, because I'm a Midwest chick and I'm fit and I like my fitness. Doing the plus size model, I get plenty of work. And dating out here, a lot of guys that I've dated have never been actually from California. They've been from East Coast, Midwest, down south. So they look for a thick chick.
Okay.
In Texas. So I don't have a problem with getting dates. It's about the quality, as she said, and about maintaining a relationship or a date. Because you may start dating someone and you're thinking like, oh, this is going pretty good. And then it comes to the whole silence, the whole ghost treatment, the whole all that stuff, and it's just like it's kind of ridiculous. It can get ridiculous.
Right.
So you think you're on the same page, but you end up not being on the same page.
You and I had kind of a conversation offline when we were talking about this, and I mentioned to you that I would think, because you like you said, you are a full-figure sister, and I asked you, do you think with your look, because you have kind of an exotic look, you have the sister build and everything, do you think that if you were placed somewhere else, if you were in Houston, if you were in Atlanta, do you think things would be different? Or do you think Black men just kind of see me, they like the look, but when it comes time to say, I want to be in a relationship, they kind of shy away?
I think that's the part right there. They like the look. They're attracted to me because I have no hair, first of all. I keep my hair low. I keep it blonde. And that's the first thing that attracts them. And I keep myself up very well. I love a good presentation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody likes to paint their house every once in a while. So
right.
I love a good presentation. So so they like the look. They like the difference. And I even get a lot of compliments from other nationalities, Hispanic, Asian, white, all that stuff. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, let your woman go shave her head off and see what happens. They're like, hell to the no.
Right.
But I get plenty of compliments. And yes, overall, they do like the look. But when it comes to settling down, a lot of them, I've found that a lot of men that I have dated in the past and here recently have issues as far as what has happened prior to dating with me, getting cheated on, getting messed around on, a woman taking them for their money, emotional, a whole lot of stuff like that. And a lot of men think that they don't carry a lot of baggage, but I'm finding that they do. They just seem to, they try to minimize it, and they try to just dust it over like it's nothing. But the longer that you're with an individual, you find out that there's more to it than just this. And you have to be willing to either seek counsel or be willing to work through the situation with the woman that you're with or with the man that you're with. You got to be willing. And if you're not willing to be open and learn how to treat someone or to let go of what happened because I'm not that individual, then you will never find a good relationship, be it male or female, because you're constantly running from your past, trying to fit into your present. And it's never going to happen. You got to dig up the root of whatever that situation is, and you got to burn it and let it go. Because if you're just trimming all the time, it's always going to grow back. So you got to be able to go back.
You have me over here wanting to shout out loud because
I'm like,
I mean, what she's saying is so true. It's like men have so many hangups. They have so many hangups about, you know, they haven't forgiven their father. They have mommy issues. They have baby mama issues. They got problems with the man. It's something, you know. And it's like, okay, deal with those issues. People are hurting. They're hurting, and while they're hurting, they're trying to have relationships in the midst of that pain. And it's not fair to the person that they're trying to deal with or halfway dealing with, because that's exactly what happens. They ghost, they lie, they cheat, they do all of these things because they still haven't dealt with their issues. And it would be so much better if they just deal with their issues, and then when they're ready, jump in here.
You preached the sermon there, for real. Let me hold that thought for just a minute. I want to go to Mrs. Riley from my home state, Ohio. She lives in Cincinnati. You still with us, Cherie?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I see you back there being cool and everything. So you and I have actually had an opportunity to kind of speak about dating and how dating is. I know you even kind of make some remarks on social media about how dating is kind of it's different, right? So being in the Midwest, kind of what people think is the cow town, slower, et cetera, et cetera. All four of you ladies are gorgeous women. That's one of the reasons why I had you on the panel, because I want to, when a lot of times when we think of, a lot of times when you hear black men talk about black women, they like, well, they don't, I'm like, no, black women are out beautiful, right?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, what has been your experience dating in Ohio? Tell us what your thoughts are.
Dating in Ohio is a smaller metropolitan area, I would say, considering Texas, California, even Atlanta. You're going to have more options as far as male versus female. But here in Ohio, there really isn't. It's a smaller kind of community where if there is a good man, then chances are he's either married, or there are probably like 10 different women chasing him because he's a good man. And so it's like here it's not a lot of options. And so in a bigger city, there will be more options. So I would say for me, it's hard to get a date. It is hard to get a date here. I don't get approached very often, and I go everywhere. I mean, I'm in Kroger's, I'm in the park, I'm in different places where you can meet people. I do go out. I don't go out as much anymore to the clubs and all of that, but I mean, just different places, in a cafe and just different places where I see guys and they look at me and they may not even speak, or they may not even approach me. So that's been my experience, is that, while, men, may look at me and smile. They don't stop and speak. They don't approach me. I don't know if it's, an intimidation factor, but
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that.
My experience is that, while there are good men here in Ohio, it's just the options are a lot smaller in a bigger city. So you're going to have a lot more, like if you're a guy that has, like, you make good money here, you're attractive, you're kind of a catch, then there's chances are you're either already married or, there's 10 different women after you. And so you have all these options.
Okay.
So, it's been difficult to date here. Number one, I don't get approached very often. And number two, the good men here are usually either taken or there's like a lot of other women, chasing after them. And so they get to be able to, choose and be picky and choosy. So.
Okay. So I hold that thought for just a moment. And let me just ask the whole panel, have any of you ever given any consideration or thought to relocating to better your chances of meeting a quality guy?
No.
I say that all the time. I'm gonna have to move out of Atlanta to find somebody.
Yeah.
But with my career, there's no way I can pretty much do that. And then I was like, maybe I can meet someone out of state and then they can move here, but I don't want them to come to Atlanta. They might rub off on them.
You start thinking of all that money. You start thinking of all that money you're gonna be losing. Like, I done built up my business pretty nice here.
So I don't know what to do.
I ain't trying to miss all this money.
Yeah, but I just be like, well, what if they come here and they switch and they have the same mentality? Because Atlanta men do have a different mentality, I think.
Okay.
Because they kind of get caught up in the same thing. That's what I think.
What about yourself, Danielle? Have you ever considered moving? Like, maybe if I went to Atlanta or maybe if I went somewhere else. Have you ever thought about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would go anywhere. I'm not tied to Dallas. I don't have to live in Dallas. I'm not emotionally tied to a physical location. Dallas is home for me. I can always come home. And I am willing to relocate for the right man. He would obviously have to have shown and proven himself, that trustworthy, that, I would pick up my life and move. But, unfortunately, with what I do for a living, I can do that anywhere, so that's with good. For the right man, absolutely, I would do that.
Y'all hear that, fellas? Y'all hear that?
I would.
For the right man, he's like, she ain't got no roots in Dallas.
Those mouths don't get fed.
What about you, Cherie? Have you ever considered moving away from Ohio?
With my mother, I'm a caregiver to her right now. It's not a priority for me to move. Yeah. I'll never say I'll never do something, because when you say you'll never do something, you pigeonhole yourself to like one thing. But I'll just say my priority right now is my family and my mother, and so at this time, no.
Okay, gotcha. So my next question I want to ask you. And I can't remember who it was that mentioned it. Someone was talking about, guys not coming up to them or whatever.
I did.
Did that you? Okay. All right. So do you think that a lot of our men now, a lot of Black men now kind of say to themselves, well, whenever I go out and, she's not, lady's not interested, she doesn't just say, no, thank you, I'm cool. She always makes a scene and tries to embarrass. And so then the runoff of that is they say, well, I'm not going to approach women. So a lot of times, I'm sure most of you sisters have dealt with this. They say, well, I'm just going to deal with women on social media. I'll just, I'm not going to get embarrassed at the club. If I shoot somebody a DM and she doesn't respond, nobody knows. But when you go and walk across the room 20 feet to go say hi to a sister, and she looks at you like, why are you over here? Right. So then you say to yourself, you know what, that's embarrassing. My crew laughing at me, her crew is laughing at me. So my question to you is, do you think that the fault kind of lies with women, or do you think men have gotten soft? What do you think is the situation? What is your?
I like to respond to that one.
Mhm.
I don't think it's women's fault. I don't think it's particularly anybody's fault. I would say that it all has to do with insecurity, in my opinion. It's about taking a risk. Love is a risk.
Mhm.
It's a risk all the way down from asking for someone's number to whether or not to be intimate with them down the, it's just like, it's all a risk.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I think men have a harder time taking that risk. The risk versus the reward is just not, when they put it on the scale, it's kind of tipping this way.
Okay.
And so I feel like it's an insecurity thing. I am not the type of woman that's like, come here, I'm giving you the green light, come on over. I'm not that woman, but I'll give you an eye contact. I will smile.
Right.
But other than that, if you don't take those cues, like, I'm not going to.
So
you know
let me ask you this.
That's gonna be like, come on over.
Let me ask you this. So back in the day, men really had no problem doing that.
Right.
Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I don't know if it kind of started to kind of tail off around like 2000, mid 2000s, where women kind of said, guys don't, they don't come and ask you to dance no more. They don't want to buy you a drink. They don't want to come up and have conversations with you. So what? It's really a two-part question. When did you guys notice that there was a shift in that? And then what happened? What do you think what do you think has happened where men just kind of took more of a passive approach and said, you know what, I'm not going to be bothered with going and trying to talk to a woman in front of anybody. If I see her, I'll send her a DM or something, but I'm not going to take that risk. What do you think happened?
I think it's more or less.
Go ahead.
I think it's more or less what you were saying, Blair, because I just had this conversation the other day with somebody. Even as simple as bare minimum as opening a door. A lot of men do it when they first meet you, but then they taper off, or some men don't do it. But I think that as far as us women are concerned, or young ladies or girls are concerned, not women, I think that they have, and at a point in time, we have this whole woman movement has kind of like shifted the man out of his position to do what he needs to do as a man, just to make me feel safe, secure, to know that my man is there, that he's covered me and he's over me and he's around me and he's protecting me. That's what I want to feel as a woman. But they don't feel like they can do that no more, because I can get my own door. I don't need you to do that for me. I can go buy my own drink. No, nigga, I'm not going to the bar getting a drink. You're sitting right here next to me. Right. I would like it if you would get up and go to the bar and order my drink. You know what I'm saying? If I'm doing it all, what are you here for? And if I'm doing it all, then the next man sitting over here in the corner is looking like, okay, is that her man or is that her brother? Like, do I have a shot when she walked to the bathroom? Because this man ain't doing his job. Right. And then let me clarify, even your brother should be doing those things and everything. Oh, my brother do those things. That's what I'm saying. So if I'm dating somebody and they're not doing that, then that's an issue for me. But some men look at it as like, I don't know why it's a problem, because other women have set it up that it would be a problem for me because you feel like I don't need you. The only thing I need you for is this. And truth be told, we don't need each other for that. That's just a warm body. We can make ourselves feel good, but just to be like, I think it's more so it for myself has come down to women and the whole women empowerment movement, and I don't need you because I got it. Okay. So let me just say this. So your opinion, and this is this consensus, is that men have gotten softer. It's not really it's not really women who have gotten colder, but it's men who have kind of, lost their backbone, so to speak. Is that what I'm
understanding?
Well, I think that men have.
I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying earlier, it's not, I personally don't have a problem with men approaching me. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm only one woman,
right.
And there are, you know, 3 other women on this call now that have different experiences. So you're going to have some situations where men have become weaker or they're intimidated, if you will. And then you're going to have some situations where, you know, the men think they're the prize, and they feel like, you know, that the woman should be approaching them in this situation. Or even if they do approach them, you know, it's about or if I'm approached, it's about if that person is a quality person, someone that I want to share my time with, someone that I want to actually, you know, get to know better, you know. So, and I also think that I think it is a shared responsibility to a degree.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman, you know, not necessarily, you know, chasing a man or going after a man, but there's a million ways you can let a man know that you're available and that you're interested. You know, you can walk up and have a conversation. If you're at the grocery store, you can ask him about the cereal that he's looking at. You know, there's many ways that you can let a man know that you're interested. You don't have to wait on him to do it, you know, but I think for the most part, with this generation of women that's on this call right now, that we would like for men to approach us. We want to be approached. We want a man to let us know that he's interested in us.
Okay, so let me go to my next question, because I don't want our time to escape us. You know, as I mentioned before, all 4 of you sisters are great looking women. Hence why I asked you to be a part of this show. Do you think that your looks are a gift and a curse to you? And what I mean by that is this: when guys see you, so I have, you know, for those of you who don't know, and those of us who are listening, I have a couple groups I do, but I have a main group on Facebook, and a few of you are in there. Few of you ladies are in the group, and one of the things that they say is, when you see a woman who is overly attractive, there's something wrong with her. So when guys see women, I'm sure you've heard it before. I'm sure you've heard it. I know some of you women heard it because you're in my group. So when guys see you and you say, I'm single, most men automatically think, well, she's probably just juggling multiple guys, or she's waiting on an ex to kind of get back free, or she's got issues, or she's holding out for a typical guy who's 6'4" and flat abs and 6-figure salary, but it's a thug and goes to church and everything. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that your looks, although maybe they get you in the door, they kind of somewhat hold you back, because guys are like, well, wait a minute, you know, you can't possibly be single. You're an attractive woman. What's the deal? So Eric, I'd like you to speak first.
Yeah, I do get that a lot. Or if I do get approached by someone, they'll say, well, you look more like wifey material. I'm like, isn't that a good thing? I thought wifey material was a good thing.
Yeah.
What's the opposite? So I do run into that quite often. So You run into where guys are like, you know, wait a minute, how you single and nobody trying to get at you? I thought for sure you were taken, but you look like wifey material.
Okay.
Again, I'm pretty successful in my career too. So I have ran into quite a bit of guys that do get a little intimidated. And sometimes it's further along in the dating, and I don't have a clue. Sometimes I'm clueless and don't even have a clue that they're feeling a certain type of way. Because I'm not a bragger. I don't talk about the stuff I have. Most thing I mean, that's just not what I do, but I run into that quite a bit.
Okay. Cherie, let me ask you this. Is that something you run into as well?
Yes, I run into, you know, you're beautiful, you're drop dead gorgeous, and you got it together, and you have a great heart, and you have no kids, and what's wrong with you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, something has to be wrong with you, because the whole package seems to be a dream.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, no, I just, you know, there's connections that, you know, I mean, the connection has to be there, the chemistry has to be there, the soul has to be there, the spirit, all of that has to be there in order for me to really dig somebody. And until that connection is made, it has nothing to do with my heart, my body, my face, how much money I got, if I got my shit together, or anything like that. It's about the relationship. And So it's hard to find connections. I tell you, when you find a connection, you want to hold on to it because it's hard to find It's not hard to find somebody with a good resume, and it's not hard to find somebody who looks great on the outside. It's hard to find connections, and it's hard to find that spiritual connection, that chemistry, all of that, the value systems. You know, the values are the same. And the things that really make a difference and are important at the end of the day, it's hard to find those things.
Okay.
It's not hard to find somebody that's pretty and handsome and got all this and that going on.
Right.
It's hard to find the connection. And so for me, it's been hard to find that connection.
Danielle and Ayana, I'd like to pull you in real quick. Do you echo her statements? I mean, do you find that that's a problem as well? The guys kind of look at you like, you fine. Something's up. Either you waiting for your ex or something's up. You ain't just gonna be sitting around fine, not have no guys after you and everything, and not you ain't got no problems finding no men. Do you find that your looks and and I'm gonna go a little even above that, your above average looks actually, as I said, is a gift and a curse? What are your thoughts?
I would say yes. I think that commonly men will ask you, pretty early, like, okay, well, what's wrong with you? Or what did you do to him? Or, they'll make it as if me being single is my fault, and no, it's not my fault. It takes two in any situation that you're involved in for it to go bad, and also I have standards. I'm okay with having standards, and and if the person that is not me that I'm involved with and spending my time with doesn't meet my standards, I'm okay with not being with them. I'm okay being by myself. Single is not a curse to me. I enjoy myself. I like myself. I like who I am.
You want to make sure,
but I want to be.
You want to make sure your men show up on the date with all their teeth and everything, right?
Absolutely, please, please.
That's an inside joke, y'all. Though. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult. It can be difficult because and maybe it's an intimidating factor. I don't know what it is, but I think it absolutely can be a blessing and a cursing. Okay.
All right. And lastly, Ayana, I'm sure you're going to say the same as well, right?
Yes. It can, like she said, it can be a blessing and a curse. But also, as she said, I'm okay with being single because I love myself. I don't mind. I will go out to dinner by myself. I'll go to the movies by myself.
Absolutely.
I will sit at dinner with my pad open, my pad open, and watch a movie the whole time with my earbuds in. Okay. And I'm like, I'm enjoying myself. But yes, like she said, I agree. It can be a blessing and a curse, but
okay,
I'll take it either way it goes. Thank you.
So my next question, thank you all for your feedback on that. My next question I want to ask, and I like to show of hands, is marriage, as we stand right now, is marriage a requirement for all of you? Show of hands.
For myself, at the end of the day, yes. I don't want a long-term relationship and we just, for 12 years, it's just what we done did. So absolutely not. At the end of the day, yes, I would like a long-term relationship that leads into marriage.
Okay.
I'm 48 years old and my parents have been married for 52 years now. And they have had their ups and downs and everything in between, but they ain't never left each other's side. That's her home girl, that's her homeboy. They still call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. So this is what I see on a daily basis. And yes, that's for myself. Yes, at the end of the day, I want marriage. And if that's not the direction that you're going in, then we don't need to be together.
Okay. Erica, Danielle, Cherie, is marriage important for all of you as well?
Yes. Yeah, definitely dating with a purpose now. I'm 46 too. I don't have much. I mean, definitely.
What do you mean you ain't got much time? You about to die?
I ain't got much time. If I'm gonna be here, it ain't gonna happen.
She got the upper room playing and everything. Like, I don't have enough time here on this here earth. Man. Gotcha. Okay, so my question, and there was a reason I asked that. My next question that I want to ask, you all have been on dates, you've met men. you've talked to men and they've, you know, of course, found you attractive and maybe went on a second date. Do you find that when you say the word marriage, do men scatter? Do they kind of say, you know, I want marriage too, and then you start to kind of build on it? Or when you say marriage, is it a situation where it's like, I mean, I just kind of want to take it as it goes. I just want to, you know, kick it with you. How?
I get that when they said, when you say commitment, they don't even get to marriage.
Right. He's like, we ain't even got to the wedding dress yet.
It's the commitment first.
Okay, so even at a I got to go all the way back. So at a commitment level, the guys are like,
yeah, let's just take this one day at a time.
Yeah, let's just.
Oh, it's been like a year.
Yeah. Okay.
I've had experiences with both, with men that have said that absolutely that they would like to be in a committed marriage, a relationship that leads to marriage. And I've also dated men that have been upfront from the beginning and said that that's not what they're looking for, you know, and that's not their life. And I can actually appreciate both, because for me personally, I would like to marry again. I'm divorced, been divorced for 11 years. I would absolutely love to marry again. I'm not, you know, jaded when it comes to the thought of being married again. But I'm not trying to force any particular person that I'm seeing to be my husband. You know, I'm not tied to the outcome in each individual relationship, you know, if it works out, because you might not be the person that I want to marry after me dating for, you know, 6 months to a year, you know, a couple of years, you know, I'm like, you know, you might not be who I want to be with. So I do want to be married. It is something that eventually will happen again for me, but I'm absolutely okay with enjoying the ride along the way.
Okay. And Mrs. Riley, what about yourself? Is marriage something that you desire?
You know, it used to be something that I really desired, but I will say now, what I desire is commitment. I desire commitment, and so for me, I'm a little bit of a free spirit in that sense. I'm kind of like Danielle. You know, I'm enjoying the ride, and if it ends in marriage, and that's something that we want to do, great. But it's not going to be because of an image or because we feel that we need to, because of society or whatever. It's just going to be a conscious decision between the two of us. But for me, I am okay if we don't get married, but the commitment level is there. That commitment level is everything to me. And if that commitment level is not there when you get married, I mean, it isn't going to work. So it's all about commitment for me. And so do I want to be married? I mean, I don't need to be married like I used to. Kind of enjoying the ride of just dating and being single and dating and figuring out who, you know, just dating, just seeing what's out there. But if I find someone that is right for me, if we want to get married and take that step, that would just be something that we want to do as a decision as a couple. If we don't as a couple want to be married, then that's okay too. I mean, there's other levels of, you know, rituals that you can do to tie your commitments. But the commitment level has to be there for me. Absolutely. Number one.
Absolutely. Doing it here on Matchmaker Mondays. Good stuff, ladies. I have 2 more questions and then we're going to kind of slowly start to wrap it up. Have any of you, and this is a show of hands, have any of you actually had an opportunity or a chance to go out there and be on any sort of dating sites, matchmaker type sites or whatever, you know, Cupid, Plenty of Fish, etc.? Have any of you had the privilege of doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
I have done that.
Okay. What are you finding out there as far as the quality of men there? Do you find it's like, okay, it's a different caliber of men? Do you find that you're pretty much dealing with the same men that you run into every day? What are you seeing?
I have met plenty of different men on the dating site, and some men, I would never say I've met a bad person. I would just say they were good people. They just weren't for me. How about that?
Okay.
I've met plenty across the spectrum. And I've never been a proponent of he got to be this height or this weight or this size. No, I'm across the board. An older gentleman that I worked with a long time ago, he saw me, the guys that I was dating, he said, "You have a type." And I was like, "I don't have no type." He's like, "Yes, you do. And you need to get rid of a type because you will never have a man if you always have a certain type in your life, because that's what you're always going to be dealing with, and they're never going to commit." And I'm like, okay. So at that point, I was like, that's it. I'm not going to have a type no more. So being on the dating site, I have found a lot of different, I've dated a lot of different guys. And I've learned a lot from dealing with the different guys that I've dated. And I appreciate that. However, there are some guys on there that are just completely about sex, and that's all they want. And you can go from one dating site to the next, and you'll see them same pictures on one dating site to the next, and you know exactly what they're about. They're just out there like plenty of fish. They're out there fishing for the next fish. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So you have plenty of different guys on there, but I've met some really good guys as well. But again, they just weren't for me, or I wasn't for them. So we keep moving.
Okay, Erica, what are your thoughts? Have you had an opportunity to be on dating sites?
I've been on Tinder, but it's more me. I'm not as consistent on there. I just log on when I'm bored, and then I don't follow up. And a couple months later, I'm like, hey. So it's my inconsistency, but there's probably some nice guys on there.
Okay. So you've actually had an opportunity to meet them, and but no real.
I met one guy in person that I've dated, and we're actually still friends to this day. But we weren't a match, but still good friends.
Not a match, gotcha. Danielle, what are your thoughts?
You know what? I was on a dating site probably about 8 years ago. I was on a dating site, and I had such a horrible experience with the guy that I met that it just completely scared me, and it just ran me away from trying to meet someone on a quote unquote dating site, so it's just not something that I particularly trust, because I think that people can be whoever they want to be when you meet them on an actual dating site. I don't have anything against it. I don't have anything against people that use that avenue to meet people, because, a lot of people do meet people and they get married eventually, but I just didn't have the best experience on it. So that isn't, something that I want to do.
Okay. All right. Cherie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't do dating sites.
Not at all. Oh, you've tried. Okay.
I tried Bumble like years ago.
Okay.
And swipe left, swipe right. I mean, it was like, all right, you know. And there was some guys on there that seemed decent, but I don't know. It's just not. To me, it's not a natural way of meeting someone for me. It's just, it doesn't feel quite natural. For me. Now, honestly, Facebook has become my online dating profile.
Okay.
To be honest, I mean, Facebook guys see me on Facebook and they hit up my DM.
Okay.
So Facebook is my online dating profile.
Yeah. Okay.
And I meet guys that way, to be honest. But on a dating site, no.
Okay. All right. Cool. I got one last question. I want to go across the board. What would you say to the men out there? If you could tell the men out there who are listening to this podcast, what would you say to them that they need to do better? Give them some advice. And I'll start with Erica.
I would probably just say not to be afraid to approach. I think that's the biggest challenge. That's the only way you can know if somebody is real or for you, if you approach them.
Okay. So be more direct, excuse me, be more direct in their approach.
And honest.
Okay, and honest. Okay. You saying the man ain't honest? Is that what you're trying to say?
I run into a whole bunch of married men that are single.
Men ain't honest.
Relationships that are single.
Men ain't not.
Don't marry me.
I'm just playing. We lie all the time. I ain't gonna lie to you. We lie a lot. So that is true. I'm not gonna lie about that. Okay, so next we got Cherie. What piece of advice would you give to take away? What piece of advice would you give for men to take away from this episode that we did?
I will piggyback off of Erica, approach women. It's okay. You might get a no, but what if you get a yes? And so you're walking away from the woman that could be potentially the love of your life. So the risk is worth it.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's worth the risk. It's worth getting your ego hurt because it's only going to be a sting for a short second after you walk away.
Okay.
So I will say that. And I will also say, and this is with women too, women struggle with this too. And I'm not singling men out, but I do want to say that, heal your pain, heal your pain before you go into a relationship. And this is just not a man thing. I think it's a universal thing. But with men, I do, and I personally feel like, when a man gets hurt, it's harder for him to pick himself back up and keep it moving and heal from it versus a woman. Now that's just my opinion, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like with men, it's very, very difficult when they open themselves up to a woman to open themselves up again.
Right.
So heal your pain. If you've been through something, allow yourself to heal from that so that you can open yourself up to the next one, because love is risk. You have to take the risk. And that means you might get hurt. No one's perfect.
Right.
No situation is perfect. So go into the next situation, healed.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Ayana, you're next. What sort of advice would you give to men?
I would ask them to be as diligent in the commitment in the relationship as they are with their job.
Okay.
Most men, they put everything into their job, their career, making a name for themselves, making their money. They build that baby to the point where they are. And then, when you have a relationship, it's kind of like, but you got to put the same effort in building that relationship as you did building your career to get, like she said, the risk of the reward from the relationship, just like you got the risk of the reward. You put a risk in to get that reward from your job. Now you're CEO, you know what I'm saying? You put that risk in because it could have been no, but you put the risk in step by step. So the same thing with a relationship. You put a risk in step by step in order to reap that reward in the end of a beautiful, committed relationship between two individuals.
Good stuff. You preaching tonight, girl. All right, cool. And lastly, we have Miss Texas. Speak to us. What sort of advice would you give to men?
I would absolutely say approach with integrity.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is when you do approach a woman, be honest with where you are, with what you want, because you never know, that woman may be on the same page with you if it's not a commitment. If it is a commitment and that's what you want, you have to be consistent, you have to show effort, and you have to show up, every single day in that relationship in order to build something. That's what I would say. If you're just out there and you're not wanting a commitment, you don't want a commitment, don't lie and say you want a commitment. You don't have to do that. We're all adults and we can handle the truth.
You ain't gonna get nowhere telling a woman you don't want no commitment. You just want to kick it. You ain't gonna get nowhere.
Okay.
You might with some women. You might with some women. I don't know. That might be where they are in their life at this point.
Exactly. It depends on where they are, because some women do.
Exactly. It depends on where they are in their life. They may not have time to deal with you either.
Exactly.
I don't want no commitment. I just want to lay on your lap a little bit. That's all.
Right.
That's it.
Just rub my head.
Right.
But what's funny with that is that when you get a woman that doesn't want commitment, when she just wants that, I just want to just every once in a while you come by and just relax and just chill. Then men be like, well, it's just like this, but she be getting too serious. But then you got a woman that say, this is what I want. Then they be trying their best to be like, but I want more than that. I want this.
Lock you down.
Absolutely.
I was like that when I first got divorced. I had my guard up, so I was really was not trying to let anybody get close to me. So I know the feeling. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Good
It's been a
stuff.
while. I'm just within the last few years of like, okay, maybe I should settle down. So
All right.
I'm
Cool,
kind of
cool.
guilty of that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having us.
Oh, you're very
Yeah.
welcome. I want everyone to
Right.
take 20 seconds. If you have any sort of things that you're doing, if you want to shout out your IG or whatever, if you have a website, you want to have them purchase your materials or apparel. Start with you, Erica. Do you have anything you want to shout out?
I'm a realtor in Atlanta, so you can look me up and please follow me on Instagram at Erica. It's ERICKA, the realtor. And I'll take care of you if anybody, looking for real estate in Atlanta. Well, actually anywhere. I can help anywhere. So.
Okay. Awesome. Cherie?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Yes, so I do have my own show, Sharing with Cherie. You can look that up on Facebook under my name, Cherie, SHERI Riley, RILEY. And you can friend me. I do post those videos, usually public, so you can't see them on my timeline. However, I would love for you to follow me on Instagram. I do it there as well under Riley, which is my last name, RILEYSC24. Riley SC24. So follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. I appreciate everyone who tunes in and chimes in on my show. So
Awesome. Cool. Ayana, 15 seconds. Go. Tell them how to find you.
IG or Facebook or YouTube. AYANNAEUBANK. Bam.
Awesome.
Ayana Eubank. There we go.
Go figure model, y'all. And
Go figure.
last but not least, Danielle, tell them how they can find you, please.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at It's Danny 1975. You can find me on Facebook, Danielle Claiborne. You can also find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is What Danny Does. And I'm a realtor in Dallas, and I can help buying, selling investments or develop. So you can contact me on any of those means of social means.
Good
Thanks,
stuff.
guys. Thanks
Good
for
stuff.
having
Thank
us.
you so much, ladies, so much for being on the show. I greatly appreciate it. For those who don't know, you can find me. You can go to my website, blairnashspeaks.com. We actually made some updates to it, so I got a bunch of new pictures and a whole bunch of things on there. So go check it out. And thank you so much for tuning in to Matchmaker Mondays. We'll see you next month, and enjoy the rest of your week.
thank you, ladies.
Bye. Nice seeing you,
Bye.
Nice
ladies.
meeting everybody.
Nice seeing everybody.
All right.